Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with this technical update on the 12th of February. This is an educational video. There's no recommendation or advice intended whatsoever. But let's have a look at Tesla that has broken below a support. It closed below the cloud area also. We are below 100 average and the RSI also below 40 threshold, indicating likely lower levels. There's some support here at 309 where we have this consolidation area where we could see a little bit of a bounce from, but it looks very heavy at the moment. So if it was me, I wouldn't buy it. It is like a falling knife at the moment. Could drop all the way down to around the 275, 270 area, where we have the next strong support, also the 200 moving average coming up. Here on the weekly, you can see massive sell-off here lately. So I would be very cautious taking any positions in Tesla at the moment. On the overall index, S&P500 was almost unchanged yesterday, still holding on up a bit. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, indicating we could see likely higher highs, but some of the big caps, they are really struggling at the moment, also with Google and Apple and a little bit of Amazon and Microsoft. All right, Nasdaq 100, same picture really, closed a little bit lower yesterday, but still in a bullish trend, still above key support, 20,974. Still above the cloud, still positive sentiment on the RSI. So for now, it's still holding on. But it's about keeping an eye on the. Keeping an eye on the support levels also. We have Dow Jones that had this top and reversal pattern here, but it hasn't materialized just yet. And if it takes it out, well, then above 45,055, well, then we are looking at new highs. European markets continuing is to be strong. New all-time highs yesterday on the EuroStoxx50, closing in on 5,400. There is a divergence on the RSI, however, but look at this. The RSI is breaking above its falling trend line here. Just let's zoom in a little bit there. You can see, so indicating we could see higher levels above 5,400. So maybe we are eyeing 5,500. Well, we get there. It's debatable, but a very strong uptrend indeed. So, but we will keep an eye on a possible top and reversal pattern. Hasn't formed yet. So for now it looks fairly strong, but eventually it could be hit. And if we're looking at the 10-year yields a little bit later, we can see maybe that's because it starts rising again, maybe that could hurt it a bit. Also, same picture on DAX, you can see the RSI values declining, but if we add a trend line here, we can see, well, it actually broke above it, and there is a potential higher, and now we are back, and now we are above 22,000, so really pushing higher. How much can it get? It's hard to say, but there is potential definitely higher to towards 22,500. Let's see if we could guesstimate from with this Fibonacci here, and we can say, okay, we are above 138.2. I think we could see 20,000, and let's zoom in so you can better see it. 22,220 in 200 in that area. I believe we could see it. Moving on to FX and euro dollar, seems to be range bound here between 102.70 and 104.45. I would say 104.50. It needs to break out for direction, and keep an eye on that. The RSI bounced off the 40 threshold, so maybe we'll have another go here at the 104.50. And if that materializes well, then we are looking above 105, 10 or 106 levels. If it takes out the support here, well, then downtrend is resuming. Cable sterling dollar, as we spoke yesterday during my video there, then it was below the support but managed to bounce back and lifting it. So we also caught here 123.60, 126.50. That's the range I want to see it break out of. Euro sterling Euro sterling, well, still hovering around this area here, around 83 and a half, 83 and a quarter, and really needs to either decide to move below 83, 82.60, or above 84 here. So a very wide range. So let's see about that. Still about the cloud, but there's negative sentiment, so the picture is a little bit blurry, but medium-term downtrend is still intact. Yen pairs and dollar yen, fairly strong bounce in dollar yen. Let's just move this a little bit so we can see what's going on. We can see that the dollar yen has bounced, and let's move that one. It has bounced to the 38.2 and just in the cloud here. Still negative sentiment. That could bounce further, but it will meet some strong resistance. We had this bottom reversal-like pattern there, indicating this bounce we talked about a couple of days ago. And there is actually potential to bounce up to around 156, which is around the 61.8 retracement. If it starts getting a little bit heavy again, moving back in this region here around 152.50, well, then I think we'll see downtrend to resume. Very strong bounce in euro yen. Almost 50% now. I think we'll see it up to the 61.8 160.84 area, and then it could be a little bit of a struggle, because then we have the 55 also putting a little bit of pressure on it. If it moves higher, then we are looking at the upper part of the cloud and the 786 for trade 162 and a quarter. So for now, fairly strong bounce, despite the fact we have some negative sentiment on the RSI. The Aussie yen, also strong bounce, closing in on 61.8 retracement and 97 and a change. Could move all the way up to 76 at 97.80, and then I think we will see a little bit of a setback again. Sterling yen also strong bounce. We can add also Fibonacci to that one from this to here. And we are just about to hit the 61.8. I think we'll see a move up to the 786 retracement, 193.15, and then we could see a setback. Aussie dollar, well, range bound around the 63 level and the 786 retracement. It needs to break above 63.35 for uptrend towards 64 and a quarter. If it starts sliding lower below the 62.30 level, then a downtrend could resume. On the dollar Canada, still above 142.70 support here at 142.60, but it could test it once again. If it breaks below, well, then we're looking around 141.20 area, where we have the 100 moving average coming up. The gout will also give some support. But this should be bouncing potential to 144.70 at least. There's still positive sentiment despite having massive divergence. So it is a little bit on the knife sets at the moment. Sterling Canada bouncing, and it didn't get all the way to the 786 retracement, bouncing here, and I think it could bounce further up to around possibly the let's do this. Sorry about that. Let's just add Fibonacci to that, just for guidelines. I mean, you should take them as exact signs, but you see 38.2 right on where the lower part of cloud is at 178.58. So I think we will test that area. If it starts moving back above here, well, then we're looking at 180. Euro-Swiss, very strong bounce off the cloud area there, and very close to the excuse me, 786 retracement and 94.80, and the 200 moving average. I think it will be tested, but will it be rejected and then slide back here to the 94 area? If it starts breaking above, then we could see another push higher towards 95.80. area 96, because the RSI is still in positive sentiment and no divergence, indicating that it could push higher to that region there. And moving on to dollar Swiss, we can see, let's just move in there, dollar Swiss back above 91.50, dancing around that area at the 61.8. If it takes out the highs from yesterday, then a push up to 92 area could be seen. Otherwise, it will probably dancing around these current levels there. Dollar index couldn't really hold up, back in the cloud area, but still positive sentiment, but really undecided. So what I will do, I'll say, okay, if it takes out the peak from from this morning actually at 108.35, then I think we'll see a push up to around 109 and a bit. If it takes out 107.15, well, then we could see it at 106.42 areas where there's some support. Gold looks toppish, at least short term. Very strong bullish move we have seen. We had this like shooting star like where market pushed it higher to almost to 29.50. Didn't get all the way up there. I think we will see a little bit of a setback. Will we get back down to the 2800 where there is 38.2 retracement? Is hard to say. But it could very well test the rising trend line here. I think we'll see a little bit of setback, but there's no divergence on the RSI indicating it will probably just be a temporary setback before next push higher towards 3,000, and then you will see some headlines. The silver still struggling after being rejected around here 32, 35, 32 and a half. Almost dipped all the way down to support here at 31, and the 100 moving average coming up. If it takes out 32.50 and this peak here 32.65, then we are pushing higher. And but for now it's just trying to find a little bit solid ground. It is in a bullish trend, higher highs, higher low, higher highs and higher lows and so on, and positive sentiment supporting higher levels, but a correction and rejection has been kicked in there. The copper future spiked just above 470, a little bit of correction, still a bullish trend short term and medium term, as we can see here also on the weekly. If it takes out 479, well, then it will be looking at levels above 500. But for now, a little bit of a setback and just a little bit of consolidation before I think we see the next push higher. However, we could see a correction a bit lower to the 445, 446, maybe only 450. We're almost there, but then I think that's it. Energy and crude oil, we talked about the bounce yesterday. They could take it up to 38.2, retracement 74.38, possibly test the resistance here at 75.15. If it closes above that, well, then there's potential higher to the 78 level and possibly a little bit higher. If it takes out 70.40 here, the lows, well, then we are looking at the lows around 60, 67 on the WTI. Brent crude oil bounced 38.2 to 77.36. Expect a little bit of setback. If it takes out 74, 10 lows here, well, then we are looking at levels around 72 and 71 area down here again. Otherwise, if it can move back above 200 moving average, there we are looking at levels around 80 level. Dutch TTF gas is stalling a little bit, but still a strong bullish trend. Positive sentiment on the RSI, and as we have done so many times, let's look at the weekly chart. We can see it is around the peak from 2023. There is potential higher to around 68, 70 level here. Bullish trend and no divergence on the positive RSI, indicating likely higher levels. The Henry Hub gas bounced to the 38.2 at 3.5. A little bit of a setback should be expected. But I think we could crawl higher towards 380 maybe, but it will be a little bit of a struggle now. We are in a very negative sentiment though, so expect maybe a little bit of range bound around 350 here before another possible push higher. Yields and the US 10-year Treasury yields now back above 450, above the falling trend line, and it could possibly in this pullback here could possibly demolish the shoulder pattern. We didn't even get all the way down to the first potential target there. If it moves back above 460, it's 100% for sure has been demolished, and we are back in bullish trend on US 10-year yield. So it is a scenario that it is not unlikely to play out, and but if it slides back below 450 again and below the falling trend line, expect there may be another push towards 438, maybe 431. The US 10-year Treasury yield, well, 430 is the key resistance. Push above that, and I think we'll see it pushing towards 445, 450, maybe even support at 415. And let's have a look at the European yields, and we'll start with this one here, EU 10-year, that bounced strongly off this base here around 235 at the 244 at the moment, 245, 38.2 retracement. I think we could see a push up to around 250, key support here at 235. The UK is also bouncing now, and I think we could see a push up to around the 458, 460. Moving on to cryptos and Bitcoin. Is it forming a bit of a triangle-like pattern? And well, very short term behind a bearish trend. Needs to keep itself above 90,000. And if it doesn't, then we could see this push lower towards. It could be really hit a still. We have fast lane over here, and could push down to around 73,000. If it breaks above this falling trend line here, then I think we could see uptrend to resume. Ethereum, maybe it's trying to build a solid ground here around 2,500, 2,600, but it's not that convincing. I want to see it back above 29 before it really could push higher. Maybe it will start around 2,800. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again tomorrow.